Fox News strategic analyst Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters joins me right now with his thoughts. Colonel, good to see you.
Hey, Trish.
Before we get to that, you know, there are members of the left right now that are still refusing to label this Islamic terrorism. He is from Somalia. He was very religious. He was angry at how Muslims were being treated. Do you think that this is Islamic terrorism?
Well, of course it is. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And I'm tired of hearing people agonizing over, well, he may not be a terrorist because he didn't have an Al-Qaeda or an ISIS union card on his body. And this is nonsense. As you just laid it out, all the signs are there. This was a self-starter, perhaps inspired by online or ISIS propaganda or other propaganda, but he went out to commit an act of terror and tried to kill as many young American college students as he could. Fortunately, he didn't get to kill any, got himself killed. That's the good news. But we've got to stop beating around the bush on this. Terrorism is terrorism.
Look, people are so politically sensitive right now, as you know, the PC culture that's out there, where they don't want to maybe be looking as hard at some of these people that are coming into the country because of their religious background, et cetera. They don't want to look at their religious background. They don't want to single them out because of that. Colonel, do we need to?
Well, we absolutely need to. But look, not all Muslims are terrorists. But right now, virtually all terrorists are Muslims. But Muslims come in a lot of different flavors. And if you look at the American experience, some Muslim immigrant groups...
That's, I guess, one way to put it. But keep going. We get it. We get it.
But no, but you know, our Iranian Americans have been a great success story. They're Shia Muslims, primarily though they were secularized. People came over after the fall of the Shah. You've got a lot of successful Pakistani Americans. But if you look at a per capita basis, the Somalis have been terrible. They've turned Minnesota, of all states, into the #1 exporter of jihadi recruits for ISIS per capita. The Somalis, whose culture is primitive and barbaric, including female genital mutilation.
I know. It's horrible how they treat women. It's horrible what they do to women. And, you know, look, a lot of, they're bringing the culture with them. How,
right.
At some point, here's what concerns me, Colonel. I feel as though in today's world, we increasingly are identifying ourselves in these small groups. So you're, a refugee from Somalia, or you're a, transgender, Episcopalian, or, you name it, basically, as small as you can get, instead of saying, I'm an American.
Right.
I mean, and don't we all need to eventually come together and realize we are one country and we are one society with a similar background. In other words, we're the melting pot, we're not the salad bowl.
Right, and we also need to be proud of our culture. There's a reason people want to come here. And if a group is so alien to our culture and refuses to integrate and clings to barbaric practices, that group has no place here. On the other hand, groups like Iranian Americans who have assimilated remarkably well, they're welcome. They're good Americans. They serve in our military, as do many others. But my point is, while I'm for we're all Americans, in the Army we used to say you're all green. You're not black, white, brown, red, you're all green. But at the same time, we need to look much more closely at some subgroups within the Muslim population here, and they include primarily Somalis, are just the absolute most disastrous.
Okay,
it's
a reality.
Saudis
and then, we didn't even get to it, but one of the big questions out there is, do we keep bringing these people in if we're not convinced we can vet them? And I'm guessing you're going to say no.
They have to want to assimilate. They have to want to assimilate. If they refuse to assimilate, they have no place in our country, period. Whatever their religion.
Colonel Peters, thank you so much. It is